If a person wanted to start meditation, I'd just like to share a few points on what might be useful to take into consideration before you begin that journey. I think the first thing is you have to decide what type of meditation you're going to do. So there's Hindu meditation and Taoist meditation and Buddhist meditation, and there are sort of New Age varieties and what have you. If you decide on to do Buddhist meditation, which I am most familiar with, and which I think needs to be taken seriously because it has a tradition of well over 2,000 years, the first thing you might want to do is consider a teacher. Now, there's a lot of myths about teachers. So in the Hindu and perhaps in the Tibetan tradition, they have this concept that the teacher is virtually equivalent to God, or as they say in the Tibetan tradition, is equivalent to the Buddha. Well, that's certainly not what the Buddha said. A teacher is somebody who teaches you, and if he or she is in that position, it's because hopefully they know more than you. They have more experience than you, and you take their advice if you feel that that's worthwhile. And that doesn't mean that from now on you can never change to another teacher, or you have to do everything that the teacher asks of you. That's not a part of the authentic Buddhist tradition. A teacher is somebody who's willing to teach you what they know and hopefully help you on your journey. The other thing is, once again, some traditions say you've got to have a teacher. Well, once again, that's not in the Buddhist tradition. Certainly, it's like learning French or something like that. You may be able to teach yourself, but undoubtedly, having somebody who's had some experience is probably better. But you don't have to have a teacher. And nowadays there are lots of books of instructions on how to meditate. Some of them are really quite good. So here you may not need a human teacher, a good book of instructions, that could be helpful too. So first of all, you decide what type of meditation you're going to do and how you're going to receive the instruction and the guidance that you need. Just add one thing to that. It's very important to point out that there is room for experimentation. So even if a teacher suggests that this is a very good way to do it, you may find that it doesn't really suit you very well for whatever reason. So it is quite acceptable to experiment a little bit and find out which is best for you. So some teachers or some techniques require you to do this on this day and that on that day, and you have to sit in this posture, and you must do that and you mustn't do that. Well, that can, for somebody who needs a lot of guidance in that, such precise and direct instructions can be helpful. It can be unhelpful for others, because the reality is that people are different. They're at different levels, they have different abilities and what have you. So if you find that the technique that you're doing, or the technique that you've been advised to do, just doesn't seem to work for you, experiment and find out what technique or what way of doing things seems to be most suitable for you. And this brings me to another point, and that is, Buddhism is supposed to be about letting go. That's a very important part of Buddhism, not clinging to things. Well, I have found that occasionally you come across meditation teachers who cling very much to their technique. My technique is right, I won't even discuss the other ones. This, once again, is quite at odds with the general Buddhist, the more authentic Buddhist tradition. There is no right way. The way that is best for you, that delivers results for you, that is the best way. Now, there are certainly certain things that would go beyond the normal mainline Buddhist teachings. That's certainly true. But if a person is teaching what he claims is Buddhist meditation, and no one technique, I know one particular teacher who insists that only his technique is vipassana. This is just it's not authentic at all. So you could put your breath here, you could put it on your chest, you could put it in different places. If you're asked to do that, do it, try it, see it. If it works, good, continue. If for some reason it doesn't work for you, put your breath somewhere else and try that. There is no right technique. The technique that works best for you is the most suitable one. Another thing may be, it tends to happen that when people take up any task, they're full of gung-ho and enthusiastic and etc. And the same applies to meditation as well. I've had people tell me, you know, I've been meditating for 6 weeks, nothing's happened yet. Except that I have sore knees. Well, keep in mind that it took the Buddha 6 years, so yeah, you know, it might take a little bit longer than that for you. So my point is, be patient and be realistic. I would say this, that anybody who is a layperson, you're not going to attain enlightenment next month. It simply is not going to happen, okay? So be realistic in your expectations. And your expectations should be basic ones in the beginning. More focus, being able to meditate and with comfort for longer periods of time, having a regular practice that you maintain, becoming calm and more peaceful and getting insights into yourself. These are very realistic expectations, and if somebody commits themselves to a regular practice, those are achievements that you certainly can look forward to, given patience, time and practice. And maybe the last advice that I would give is, in answer to the question, how do I know that I'm doing it right, or how do I know that I'm using the right technique? This is very important. And I would say this: if you're meditating and you've become more tense, more anxious, you don't smile as often, you become really serious and a bit rigid, and you find that you don't laugh too much, and you look at other people and their interests and you think that they're shallow and useless and what have you, and you don't smile very much, I would I'd encourage you to reassess how you're meditating. The sign that your meditation is going well, or that you're using the best technique for yourself, is that you are lighter, more at ease, more physically comfortable when you meditate, and that basically you're happier than you were before. If you're meditating and you're becoming serious and gloomy and unsmiling, I submit that there's something wrong. So I hope these hints give you some things for thought and to consider when you start your practice, and when you do your practice, I hope it becomes fruitful for you.